Hello, friends. This is Pastor Bill Walden with Build Up the Church. This is a devotional word for April 26th, 2024, and this is out of the Gospel of Luke, chapter 21. I'll start in verse 34. Jesus is talking about his return, and I believe his return comes in two parts. The first one is called the rapture of the church, where God miraculously somehow removes his people from the earth before a time of great judgment and wrath upon the earth. The Great Tribulation period. The word Armageddon is not an unfamiliar term to a lot of us. It speaks of those last days where God will bring judgment upon the earth before he comes again to establish his kingdom upon the earth. So I do believe in two comings of Jesus Christ, Luke chapter 21, Matthew 24. There's a lot of passages that you can read to understand the chronology of those things. And the whole idea of prophecy and eschatology, the study of last things, it's a bit like a mosaic. It comes in pieces and we put it together. So we want to come to our conclusions by reading the totality of scriptures and putting prophetic pieces together and see what we come up with. One thing is for certain, Jesus said that his followers need to be watching. If we believe he's coming, especially if you believe in the rapture of the church, you need to be watching for Jesus. You need to be living for him. Jesus said this, "Take heed to yourselves. Be careful with your life." May I encourage you, don't be careless with your life. Be careful with your life. Be careful how you live. Be careful about the friends that you make. Be careful of the hobbies you take up. Be careful of the relationships that you develop. Be careful of the places you go and the things that you do. Not to live in fear, not to live paralyzed or anything like that, but to live cautiously with your eyes open. There's a lot of things that can trip us up in this world. There's a lot of things that can derail us from following after God. So Jesus said, take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life. And if that happens, that day will come upon you unexpectedly. So that's one reason I believe in the rapture of the church. Jesus said that it's possible to not be aware of his coming. It comes upon you unexpectedly and you're not ready. The things we want to watch out for, he named three things here: carousing, drunkenness, and the cares of this life. The first two seem more obvious to us, don't they? Don't be what we used to call a party animal. Don't be thinking about inebriation all the time and only having fun. We certainly want to enjoy social activities and have friendships and hobbies and vacations and all that. But Jesus is talking about how people can take it to an extreme. But then he introduces another idea. He says, the cares of this life. And that's what I see most people getting caught up with, is just being too concerned with all the busyness of life. And the busyness of life can be a faith killer. There's a book put out some years ago, and it was entitled The Tyranny of the Urgent. And it's the idea of that our schedules get so full that everything becomes so urgent that we put temporal things in front of eternal things. We put the cares of this world in front of our care for God and our care for our spiritual life. And when that happens, we're not looking for the return of Jesus. We're just trying to keep up with our schedule. So if you're a Christ follower, be careful about that. It doesn't mean don't be involved with social things and sports for your kids and all those things, but if those things take away your focus and the priority of walking with God and of thinking about heaven, then you're doing too much. Jesus said that day will come upon you unexpectedly. It will come as a snare on all those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. So another theory is that Jesus was just talking about Jerusalem here, but about hard times coming upon Jerusalem. But Jesus said, no, this is something the whole earth needs to watch out for. He says, watch therefore and pray. Pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. He's talking about escaping what the Bible calls the Great Tribulation, that time of God's judgment upon the earth, which is horrible and sad, but appropriate. And so if you're a Christ follower, live cautiously, Don't get carried away with the world. The world is passing away, and the lusts of it, all the cares of it, they're all passing away. We live in the world, but we're not of the world. Be looking up, the Bible says, because your redemption, your being gathered to God, is getting closer and closer every day. So we want to live with our feet on the ground, but with our hearts in heaven. So some things for you to think about. Thanks for watching.